Welcome to another match preview here on Stones TV and the Maidstone United podcast, where we look ahead to our latest return league away game. And it's a relatively short trip along the M25, give or take a diversion or two of course, to both Hampton and Richmond. So before we look ahead to our trip to the Beverley Stadium, we must look back at the Stones win at home to Chippenham. Took a while to get going there, Joe, didn't it, in front of goal, but well worth the wait.
Yeah, we was talking off air about the game and of course how long it took us to get going. A very creative performance from the Stones, but finding that cutting edge to get that first goal, as scrappy as it was, it finally came and eventually we managed to build on that. But yeah, it did take a little while, didn't it?
It did, but positive result for the Stones, and getting those goals is the main thing for us really, because that's been the one key issue for us in front of goal, because we're all well and good, another clean sheet of course, another one for Andre in the back line, but it's just getting that ball in the net, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, and that's been our issue at various points this season. Of course, we've seen a lot of forwards coming and going, a lot at the start of the season who were starting to get goals, but we did struggle as well. For a large part of the season, Temi was one of our higher scorers, and it has been a bit of an issue throughout, but it was nice to see three different scorers today as well, and of course Shaq having an impact off the bench as well, which is something he has lacked but has also shown at times throughout the season. So yeah, it was nice to finish off the game as a 3-0 win.
Definitely off the bench from Shaq, he's done that a number of occasions this season, and Harry Cipriano as well. What a boost to have the extra body in the squad to help mix things up as the playoff race intensifies.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the reaction from the fans when he came back. Obviously, his chant of do going around, and every time he was touching the ball, that sort of like last 5-10 minutes, all the fans kind of getting up for it as well, which is really nice. He's been out for a very, very long time, but before that he was a player who was frequently in the side and a big contributor as well, especially in the National League season. Definitely.
So to Saturday's results for the rest of the top 8, Eastbourne Borough travelled to Aveley and ran out 2-0 winners. Weston-super-Mare went to Chelmsford and won 1-0 to keep that gap at 2 points to the Stones. The big game of the day saw Dorking host Torquay, and it was the visitors, the Gulls, won 1-0, which has really tightened the top 6 pack immensely. More on that in a moment. Truro also on the road at form side Enfield Town. They looked to have it won at 2-1 in stoppage time, but Ollie Knight in shining armour made it 3-2 to Enfield, the final score there. Boreham Wood journeyed to Weymouth and lost 2-1 at the bottom side. And finally, leaders at the start of the day, and they still are, Worthing hosted Hemel, and that finished 3-0 to the home side. That extends their lead at the top, so the top 8 looks like this headed into the matches on Saturday the 22nd of March. 8th place Weston on 65 points, 7th place Stones on 67 points, Torquay in 6th on 71 points, Dorking in 5th on the same number, Boreham Wood in 4th with a better goal difference than the pair of them, Eastbourne then a point clear of those sides in 3rd on 72, Truro in 2nd, another point ahead of Eastbourne on 73, and Worthing now with a 4-point gap at the top of the table. So Joe, hashtag never dull in South, hashtag big head-to-heads every weekend.
Yeah, and the show still goes on, doesn't it? We said back in our preview of the run-in for promotion back in, I believe it was January, that it was the most interesting league in the country, and it's still probably the tale is the same today, isn't it? It's going to stay that way right up to the end. Obviously Worthing have got a small gap at the top there, but chances are that's not going to last. You're going to see that fluctuate a little bit more, and the playoff teams are going to be definitely shuffling around the pack for the next couple months before the end of the season.
Well, indeed. So the comings and goings since last we played Hampton and Richmond. Jordan Cheadle called time on his playing career at the start of October after a knee injury from the previous season recurred, meaning he would unlikely feature again this season. Jack Taylor returned early to Sutton after the Beavers FA Trophy exit. Bunmi Babajide returned to the Beverley in early January after some time away from the club, where he reflected on his path and aspirations. Aussie centre-back Lachlan Bird joined on loan from Aldershot for the remainder of the 24-25 season. Ted Curd was recalled by Chelsea the day after their win at Welling in January. Taking his place in between the sticks was Max Merrick. He joined on loan at the Beavers from Chelsea. So a quick swap there. On that same day, Odai, Martin, Sorondo and Gianni Critchlow were released, and the last signing at time of recording saw midfielder Rudy Allen sign from Basingstoke. So Joe, not too many changes to Alan Julian's squad, and that's helped them stay in that middle third of the table all season long.
Yeah, it has. They've been quite a consistent side. You know, if you look at their performances throughout the season, if you were to average them out, it's just this recent stint, isn't it, where they've started to drop off a little bit. And of course, that's something we'll go into in just a moment.
So the key men so far this season, the aforementioned Max Merrick started his time in between the sticks with 3 clean sheets in his first 4 appearances. Archie Taylor has the most appearances in defence so far this season. He has 3 goals to his name at time of recording. 2 of those were openers in wins. Mauro Villette has reached double figures this season after helping Hornchurch get promoted to the National League South last season. His goals have earned the Beavers 12 points at time of recording. That wonderful phrase we use. James Roberts is on 9 goals for the season at time of recording, nearing double digits for a 4th season in his last 6 at this level. So some key names in there, Joe. We're expecting 1 or 2 to have a say on Saturday, perchance.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite their poor form, there has only been in their last 10 games at time of recording. Before, today, that they haven't scored. 2 of the last 10, even though they're not winning games, they are still getting goals. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and something that a Stones defence, which had a pretty easy game today, are going to need to focus on going into next week.
In case you couldn't tell, we are filming this just after the Chippenham win. So the Beavers' form since last we met, well, we know what happened in the FA Cup to Hampton and Richmond, because it literally happened just over there. Back in September, the FA Trophy saw them beat Yate Town and #United before falling to semi-finalists Spennymoor Town in round 4. And 30 games played in the league, 11 victories, 6 at home, 13 defeats, 6 of those at home, and 6 draws. They have 1 win in 10, and we record before Tuesday, so we don't know how they fared at St Albans in that Tuesday night clash. So Joe, aside, as we've already alluded to, madly out of form in the league, do you think the Stones can extend the Beavers' poor run, or will it be another bore draw on the road for the Stones come Saturday?
Well, as I refer back to when we looked at the promotion race towards the middle of the season going forward, we did say that Hampton and Richmond might be a side who has a lot to say, because they've got a lot of games against the bigger sides in that promotion run-in, and unfortunately for them, they've not fared too well. So, I believe personally that Maidstone are still going to go there and come away with a victory, because unfortunately the form just kind of dictates that although they might be still getting goals every now and then, the odd one here and one there, unfortunately they're just shipping far too many goals, and coming off the back of a 3-0 victory today, I think that might play into our hands. It's
just needing that away performance to finally fruit for the Stones, frankly, because they have been pretty poor on the road of late, just not really scoring too much. But as you've already alluded to, the Chippenham win at home, hopefully a bit of freedom breaks out and some goals go in for the Stones.
Yeah, and you see the Stones building as well. You see Lee's coming into the side as well. He's doing everything but getting that final goal. He had a couple chances today which he probably should have scored, and I think should those chances come again, he's probably going to tuck those ones home, I'd imagine.
Fingers crossed. Remember all of the players from the previous meeting, then why not head back to our previous preview video and podcast from this season for more information on Saturday's opponents. The links to both of those videos, because of course we've played them twice, remember. Links to both of those videos and podcasts are both in the descriptions below. And if you can't make it to the game itself on Saturday, be sure to tune in to Darren and Alex from 2:40 on Stones Live. You'll see them on the hot take and then hear them on the highlights once they go online. Things between these two sides could not have been more contrasting. The goalless draw in August that could have put an insomniac to sleep, and the first FA Cup tie of this season that kept most people awake for a week afterwards. Which way will Saturday go? Hopefully somewhere towards the latter would be appreciated, as every point starts to matter more at this stage of the season. Our thanks to you all out there as ever for watching or listening to the latest preview. Like and subscribe on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Maidstone United podcast. See or hear you for our next preview ahead of the return league home game against fellow playoff contenders Boreham Wood. And as always, come on you Stones!